Leaf printing 2 ways with Ms.Boley. Autumn art activity. You may have noticed that the leaves are changing colors outside and they're falling off of the trees. Well, our art activity today is going to involve fallen leaves. So what are we doing? We're gonna go collect some fallen leaves, and then we're going to do an art activity to document their texture by making a print or a rubbing. Why are we doing this? Well, we're going to experiment with different ways to document and create texture in our artwork. And when we're doing that, we're going to be looking closely at natural forms. So what do the leaves look like? What do the outside edges look like? And what do those little veins and all those textural details look like? And in doing this, we're developing our artist's eyes. So what is texture? Well, texture is how bumpy or smooth something is. So texture can be real, as we see on the left. That's a sculpture with texture. So if I were to go and touch that, it would actually feel bumpy. And it can also be simulated. So that's a drawing of some fur. If I were to go and touch that, that's on a sheet of paper. So it would just feel like a smooth sheet of paper. So it's kind of creating the illusion of texture. And that is the type of texture that our leaf prints are going to have today. So we're going to be finding collected leaves, and we're going to be using them either to press onto the surface of a paper, or we're going to do a rubbing with crayons. So I'm going to show 2 different methods for creating leaf prints. So in this first method, you're going to need a visual journal or sheet of paper. You're going to need some collected leaves. You're going to need washable markers and a piece of damp paper towel. So you're going to want to put that under the water and get it a little bit wet and squeeze it out so that it's not soaking wet, it's just damp. All right, let's get started on method 1. Before we get started, just wanted to point out that leaves have this one side that's pretty smooth. And then if you flip it over on the back side, that's where you can see and feel a lot of the texture from the veins. And that's the side we're going to use for our printing. Okay, so I have my collected leaves right here. I tried to collect ones that weren't too crispy. And I also forgot to mention you're going to need a sheet of paper just to protect your visual journal page. And then also washable markers. And I also have that damp paper towel. All right, let's get started. So I'm going to take my leaf and place it on top of that extra scrap paper. And then I'm going to grab a few different colors of washable markers. So you can do all one color if you like, but I think it looks really cool to do many colors on the back. So I'm then going to color the back of the leaf, and I'm going to use the side of my marker. So if you have the same type of marker as me with a cone-shaped tip, using the side of the marker is great, or maybe you have a flat tip marker and then that's great as well. So I want to go all the way to the edge of the leaf. So that's why I have that sheet of paper, because it's going to get some marker on top. We're going to switch colors and we're going to color the whole entire back of the leaf with our washable markers. Okay, all done. So now I'm going to grab my damp paper towel and I'm just going to dampen my paper. So it's not super soaking wet. So I'm just going to put a few swipes of damp paper towel, and then I'm going to gently lift up my leaf and place it down onto that wet area. And then I'm going to just kind of rub with my fingers. My leaf is a little crispy, so it's kind of falling apart, but that's okay. I'm just going to rub with my fingers and try to hold it still so it's not wiggling around. And then I'm going to lift up to reveal my print. There, it worked really well. And you can repeat the process. You can use a different leaf or the same leaf with different colors, as long as you're not overlapping the leaves, because that wet area will maybe smudge the ink. So for this method, method number 2, you're gonna need a visual journal and paper, collected leaves, and crayons or oil pastels. Let's get started on method 2. The thing you're gonna need to do for this method is to peel the paper off your crayons or your oil pastels. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. You only need to peel a couple different crayons. So let's speed up the video and get that done. All right, all done. So we'll throw away all of those paper wrapper shavings. And I'm also gonna try out some oil pastels. If you have those available, you can try those too. All right, so I've grabbed my visual journal and another leaf. You can use the same leaf, but I just picked a different one, and I'm gonna place it underneath my sheet of paper. And then I'm gonna use a sleeping crayon. So I'm going to use the crayon lying down on its side, and I'm going to rub back and forth over top of the leaf. And you can't really see it that well because it is a bright green crayon. So let's try a red crayon or pink crayon and see if you can see it a little bit better. So that is the technique that we use to make a leaf rubbing. And you can see it a lot better now. And if you like, you can use a crayon standing up, not the sleeping one, the crayon standing up, to kind of outline around the leaf once you're done. So that's method number 2. Really cool. And you can repeat that and overlap as many times as you want. So here, let's try it out with a different leaf, and we'll try an oil pastel. So one thing you have to remember is just hold the piece of paper or the visual journal page, just hold it down with your non-dominant hand. And with your dominant hand, you're gonna be rubbing the crayon or oil pastel side to side and back and forth. And there we go. And I'm gonna try one more. All right, now you're gonna try. So depending on what materials you have access to at home, you can try out one or both of the techniques shown in the video. And then maybe you have other materials, or maybe you can think of another way to document the leaf's texture. Maybe you can think of another way to make a leaf print. Experiment with your own techniques and see what happens. That's it. I cannot wait to see your leaf prints. Thanks for watching.